Well, I read the entire Asgardia constitution, terms of service, and its privacy policy, and so today we'll talk about that, and I will reply to some of your comments. So, first, I wasn't and still am not against the idea of Asgardia. I was just trying to debunk a possible fake news. I'm pretty sure that most of you who registered to the nation knows that if you would like to get an additional citizenship, you will need to bring most of your information to the nation's government. Not just your name, last name, and your email, because those were the only info you could send to them at the time. No one would ever let you become a citizen of a country without knowing who you actually are, or unless your proposes. Becoming a citizen of a different country is usually a very long process, and still, usually you will need to retrieve any possible information about the nation before to become a citizen. Maybe before to find out you'll get conscripted to the army, for example, which I hope is not the case. Anyway, before to talk about the Constitution articles, I wanted to talk about one point from the section Your Conduct from within the terms of service. When it starts talking about the Project Abide, which for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a satellite in which Asgardian citizens have been encouraged to send whatever kind of digital file for the purpose of storing human knowledge. It says, post your content that is relevant to and appropriate for the specific topic and designed to help people share information and supports Asgardia's mission of inspiring people to care about the world. You care about something and live in it? But still, I don't get what about the last sentence with the project abide, but okay. The other point from within the terms of service, still about the Abide project, says neither post nor transmit any unlawful, obscene, defamatory, threatening, pornographic, harassing, hateful, racially or ethnically offensive your content, or your content that encourages conduct that will be considered a criminal offense, give rise to civil liability, violate any law, or any other your content that infringes on the ability of others to enjoy the service or is otherwise inappropriate. So, what's the problem with pornographic or obscene stuff? Shouldn't the next generations know about porn? Isn't porn about human knowledge also? A point that made me puzzled is the one that says these are the terms of service for the use of Asgardia websites, apps, games, and other digital products. Please review them. Games? Really? You're supposed to put your efforts on building a space nation, and you make games. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the most interesting Constitution articles. Article 6, Asgardian Citizenship, Point 2. The space citizenship of Asgardia is a special type of citizenship and does not constitute dual or second citizenship for the purpose of Earth state citizenship. A citizen of an Earth state becoming a space citizen does not confer multiple citizenship status, unless otherwise stipulated by an international treaty to which Asgardia is a party. Okay, this is interesting because, as I said before, becoming a citizen of a different country is usually a very long process. Maybe the special type of citizenship won't make it that long. Article 6 Asgardian Citizenship Point 4. Space citizenship may be terminated by the Asgardian citizen waiving citizenship, or by Asgardia revoking citizenship. Space citizenship can also be temporarily suspended by Asgardia. And of course, this has to be read with a fifth point, which says grounds for the revocation and suspension of space citizenship, as well as restrictions on the acceptance of new citizens, shall be set by Asgardia's laws. So I was wondering, what are the cases in which you will lose your citizenship? So this redirected me to probably the most interesting article, which is Article 9, Obligations of Citizens, Point 10. Failure to perform citizenship obligations, or failure to perform them properly, may lead to permanent revocation of Asgardian citizenship. suspension of Asgardian citizenship, fines, and restriction on and/or permanent revocation of access to Asgardia's electronic resources in accordance with Asgardia's laws. And now here it comes, the very interesting part. The death penalty is prohibited in Asgardia. The creation of prisons is prohibited in Asgardia. I think this is awesome, because to me, prisons is one of those solutions that you apply when you're too lazy to find better ones. Yeah, I know. When you have criminals in your country, you probably don't have enough time to find the best solution, but still, at that point, prisons could be a temporary solution, and in the meanwhile, governments shall be finding better solutions instead of sticking on a temporary one forever. So let's see what's next. Article 13. Financial Resources Point 2. Asgardia's currency shall be a monetary unit named Solar. How is this interesting other than knowing you will use a different currency from the one you use right now? Well, I'll just tell you, this must be tremendous in a good way for investors. When the solar currency will be distributed and first listed on the market, its value will initially be very low, so you could buy it with few money, and depending on how much the solar currency will be requested, its value will tend to increase or decrease, just like would happen with any other currency like the dollar, for example. So let's suppose the solar currency value will increase. Selling it, you will actually earn much money. Article 26. National Symbols. Point 3. Asgardia's national motto is One Humanity, One Unity. Okay, well, actually, I don't get why humanity. I mean, are we sure that humans will be the only smart race live into the space nation? Article 27. Language. Point 5. Asgardia shall strive toward a single Asgardian language in the future. I guess this would be bad for traditional languages, but I even think this could be positive for a faster communication. Article 32. Asgardia's Head of Nation. Point 2. The founding father and first head of nation, elected on 20 January 2017, 20 January 0001 in Asgardian calendar, and voting for this constitution on 18 June 2017, 1 Asgard 001 in Asgardian calendar, is Igor Ashurbli. As of the day of the acceptance of the Constitution of Asgardia, the head of nation holds this post for a period of 5 years. So this is similar to the President of the United States, which holds the post for 4 years. About the Asgardian calendar, I guess it had to be done since an Earth satellite will have different periods of sun exposure from the Earth itself. Article 33. Parliament. Point 3. Members of Parliament shall be elected for a term of 5 years from among Asgardian citizens who have reached the age of 40. I wonder why that much? Why 40? Anyway, Article 35, Court, Point 4. Justices may be Asgardian citizens aged between 40 and 80 who have a first degree in law and experience of working in the legal profession for at least 5 years. The rules and procedure of the judiciary may set additional requirements in respect of justices. Degrees in law in the world take around from 2 to 5 years. Adding 5 years of experience, that would then to a maximum of 10 years. So still, why the citizen must be at least 40 years old? Article 35, Court, Point 9. Justices shall not be replaced after 5 years in office, and after having been appointed by the Supreme Justice, and further resolution by the Chairman of the Parliament, in accordance with Asgardian's laws. I know you said in the 32nd article that presidents hold the post for a period of 5 years, but there's no need to say justices won't be replaced after 5 years in office, cause that is automatically obvious if you don't specify it at all. Article 40. Decision making and implementation. Point 3. Asgardian citizens may initiate the making of government administrative decisions and participate in their preparations by means of electronic voting, right to propose legislation, in accordance with Asgardia's laws. So this means citizens will be able to propose new laws? Well, if so, that's really good, I think. So now let's talk about your comments from the previous news. I might stay if I could hear what you're saying, but what I did hear is that you don't even know about. It doesn't do anyone justice to insult their ability to make an educated decision. Problem is, I never said that you don't even know about. I said you don't even know its roots, its owner. You don't know anything about anything in the Space Nation. And that was totally true when I said that, since there wasn't even a constitution. I am an Asgardian and I think it's awesome. I don't care if they are from the New World Order or whatever, and by the way, I don't hear anything. Turn your mic a little bit louder. Is this enough loud? I'm kidding. Okay, so I don't believe to a New World Order or whatever, but I seriously doubt that you will elect whoever as president without caring. I mean, this is what happened with Trump, and I said everything. What the fuck, are you afraid to put your name on that? What can happen to you or anyone else? Nobody knows, I got assuredly, but if you will be an alien, what difference could it possibly make? Everybody can die one day. Let's suppose an alien become president, and that alien doesn't like certain humans and it wants to kill them all. Well, that kind of difference. And you know, we're not talking just about aliens. I joined because I was captivated by the purpose and goals of Asgardia. In the same way science has no boundaries, you indicate the founding father of Asgardia is corrupt, but I urge you to find me one politician of any country who is not. You speak about consequences of joining Asgardia. Since Asgardia is a virtual country, there are no any. About the corruption, I say totally the opposite. What I say was, fact is, no one really knows why he was fired. A WikiLeaks page talks about BBC talking about his firing, says the Russian government tried to bribe him to not to speak about the C-400 project. But he refused the money, and so the government paid someone to write an incriminating article about him. Did you hear that? He refused the money. So I actually said he wasn't corrupted at all. Now, about the find me one politician of any country who is not corrupt, will that be your excuse to accept corruption? Next you said Asgardia is a virtual country. No, it isn't. And if it is, won't be. Prefer to be in space than in the US. Well, let me tell you, US is not the only country in the world. Okay, this is not a comment, but I read this post into the petition section of Asgardia website. LGBT, homosexual, bisexual, transgender, intersex rights shall be mentioned in the Asgardian constitution. How about LGBT rights in Asgardia? Why there are no mention about it in the constitution? How about marriage equality, etc. I guess. I'm not sure if this guy seriously read the entire Asgardian constitution, but the Article 8, Rights and Freedoms of Citizens, at the point 2 says, all Asgardian citizens shall be equal. All the citizens, LGBT included of course. There's no need to specify it. Even if a dog will be a citizen of Asgardia, the dog will be equal to any other citizen. Of course, if you think of the LGBT people as different from the non-LGBT people, then you are the one who's making them different. At this point we would then need to specify that heterosexual people had the same rights of any other Asgardia citizen, but we don't need it because it's obvious. So, in conclusion, I know that most of you feel like this new nation is the best nation because it is new and different from the others from within the earth. But it won't be different if we keep acting like these past 1,000 years. Of course, the constitution of this nation defends human rights. Do you think other constitutions don't? A nation needs us to survive, and a nation needs us to be different. What I want to say is that we are who make a place different, not the place itself.